work, and I would be glad to do it if the enemy was using it. But our intelligence revealed that the enemy was not using the Abbey. And then, too, I knew from experience that when you destroy a great edifice, the rubble makes a better defensive work than before.
General Clark, did you point that out to General Freiberg?
Oh, yes, I did, and we discussed it. I appreciated his point of view, and I discussed it at length. I discussed it with General Alexander, who got into the picture because General Freiberg asked him to intervene. And so finally, General Alexander asked me to bomb the Abbey. And I said, I will do it if you give me orders to do so, which he did.
In the hope of saving the 1,000 Italian refugees who had claimed asylum from the Benedictines before the bombing began, leaflets are fired in special shells. On February the 15th, at dawn, the bombardment begins with artillery fire. Then, hundreds of planes fly from Sicily and Naples towards Monte Cassino. In 3 hours, St. Benedict's Monastery is destroyed, leaving the German defenses still intact. The ruined monastery is taken over by the Germans and makes a fairly effective strongpoint. The 1st Paratroop Division entrenches itself there in the ruins of the monastery. These German paratroops have fought at Rotterdam, in Crete, and in Sicily. But it's at Cassino they earn their name, the Green Devils. The day after the bombardment, General Freiberg launches a new frontal attack. In theory, now that the monastery is destroyed, nothing more can stop him advancing. But once again there is failure. Indians, Maoris and New Zealanders try in vain to scale the peaks of Monte Cassino. At the end of 3 hours, Field Marshal Alexander gives the order to stop the assault. Since they can't take the mountain, an attack is mounted in the valley, on the town of Cassino, which on March the 15th is wiped off the map by a terrible bombardment of 775 planes and 750 guns. Immediately, the New Zealanders, reinforced by Canadian and British tanks, advance. Battle is joined in the ruins, which are held by only 150 German paratroopers. British infantry advances alone under the barrage of mortars. The tanks, stopped by the mass of ruins, are unable to follow. At the end of 4 days, it's clear the New Zealand Corps, in spite of their courage, has failed. All that remains now is to call a truce to allow each side to collect their wounded. Field Marshal Alexander considers it may be better to stop operations, but his French and Polish allies are determined to try their own strength. The French General Juin makes an outflanking attack on the left, while the Polish Corps of General Anders make a final frontal assault on the mountain strongpoint. The combination proves too much for the Germans. The Poles capture the monastery and take the ruins of the abbey on May the 12th, breaking the 5 months deadlock. A symbolic triumph. The Germans are now in full retreat, harassed by the Allied Air Force, who have undisputed mastery of the skies. Along a road littered with German dead and debris, the tanks, trucks, mules and infantrymen push forward in the warm spring sunshine to take Rome. High in the mountains, the 22,000 Moroccan scouts of General Guillaume sweep from ridge to ridge. The American soldiers are eager to rescue their comrades, taken prisoner in January when caught in the Anzio trap. Then, a fighting advance on Rome. General Clark, in his jeep, overtakes the leading tanks. Rome, the eternal city, is in his grasp. The Germans evacuate in haste to the north, and their departure is secretly filmed by an Italian cameraman. In the evening of June the 4th, 1944, the first American patrols penetrate Rome. The French army reaches Tivoli in the suburbs. The next day, Clark and Juin meet up, and they inspect the city together. A soldier of the French Pacific Battalion runs up the flag of the Farnese Palace, the headquarters of the French ambassador. On June the 6th, the French troops march into Rome, and the British hold a parade. The Germans continue to retreat towards the north, towards Siena and Florence. But they're still disciplined troops and still dangerous, leaving behind them mines and traps, blocking roads, blowing up bridges.